English philosopher Jeremy Bentham designed the panopticon, the inspiration for the class experiment. The design allows for a single watch point that can survey all prison inmates who are unable to tell whether they are being watched. In his 1995 essay, Foucault describes the panopticon writing, "They are like so many cages, so many small theatres in which each actor is alone, perfectly individualized and constantly visible. Visibility is a trap." The panopticon is very much like data surveillance in the digital age. This form of constant surveillance was exposed through Edward Snowden's revelation of the data mining from the US National Security Agency, or NSA, in the program called PRISM. The NSA are, according to their website, an agency which collects, processes, and disseminates intelligence information from foreign electronic signals for national foreign intelligence and counterintelligence purposes and to support military operations.
The NSA collected personal data of everyday American citizens from highly popular websites such as Facebook and Google. This means that a government agency was obtaining the private data of millions of Americans, utilizing it to survey their movements and their personal information.
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone.
What is the scope of PRISM, and how does this new age of data surveillance and media vulnerability related to media arts? It is as negative as Snowden describes it to be and should to be worried. How does PRISM related to media arts?
Media art, after PRISM, questions society's lack of understanding of data and information in digital technologies and on social and internet networks. It exposes the virtual space which individuals are frequently, or even always, connected to, but which they often don't understand. It critiques human relationships with personal data and the immaterial, revealing how, because it is invisible to the human eye, we become immune to such government agencies invading our privacy. Media theorist Mackenzie Walk reflects on these ideas, writing, "No longer confined to a particular materiality, information really does yearn to be free. But it is not free, it is everywhere in chains. It is forced into the constraint of a very new creation, intellectual property," and also in his Hacker's Manifesto, "We do not own what we produce, it owns us." Walk talks about the immateriality of information, which we can relate to data. Though we can replace the term personal to data, in reality, personal data is never our own property. He highlights the complexities of a relationship with media, and within the post-PRISM landscape, we can see that if we don't own the internet networks, then the data that we produce belongs to the network creator and not us. This notion also applies to Greek Lovink's writing, reflecting on how new media in either past or contemporary context is always speculative, which means that information obtained by the audience must be carefully examined in order to be understood. This contributes further to our overall lack of understanding of our own data and of the media around us, and how it might be used in ways we do not consent to.
Artist duo Julian Oliver and Danja Vesely draw upon ideas of digital manipulation and data mining to form provocative works directly confronting how your information, through programs like PRISM, are potentially collected, stored, and displayed. In this work, Men in Grey, the men carry briefcases containing hardwares and softwares which connected to public internet networks. The briefcases have screens which reflect people's computer screens, making the private now public. It exposes the vulnerability of personal data.
Ego Gina Takata Vertic Postka, use iPods, Kelly Yates said, he's wearing a red hoodie and he's pretty cute. Trisha Raven said, ask him out, you only live once, LOL Cenicienta.
This is truly demonstrative of society's ignorance towards unsecure internet network. Oliver and Veslev visualize Prism in a common public place like a cafe, but Prism and other personal data collection programs have been collecting data from every source internet networks, from public spaces and the private space.
Another work by the artistic duo is Beacon Frame, a direct response to Snowden's Prism revelation. The work shows a spinning glass prism projecting information from a passerby's phone which is connected to an internet network and server. The information shown includes IP addresses and MAC addresses, along with the user's phone name. The artist is The artists used this ironic setup to satirize and speculate possible NSA equipment used for agents to gather personal data. This project is indicative of technological advancement and the ability to hack into the digital, proving that programs such as PRISM have conquered the immaterial data landscape. Media has been flooded by unchecked blatant lies through a prominent term called fake news.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
But with the revelations by Snowden, truth and transparency has been lost. Another work by Oliver and Vasiliev is Newstweek. Using a wall plug, the duo manipulated news outlets such as the BBC by hacking into the websites. Internet users within the vicinity consumed the fake news without question. Not understanding data infrastructure results in not being able to control our information that's going through the internet and not having control over what is fed to us. Related to prison surveillance, it demonstrates the lack of power of the individual over media. The media controls us. As Anna Hager said, because of our inability to understand the data infrastructure, we become unable to describe our own environment. We need to take on and intervene to take these hidden infrastructures. It's a call to action. Hager paints the image of society absolutely lost within the digital world, and thus losing agency and control. Yet the question is, what form of action can the individual take to gain autonomy and power?
In his cinematic work, Dragonflies, Xu Bing combined and condensed more than 10,000 hours worth of CCTV footage into an 81-minute film to spotlight the issue of privacy and violence in Chinese contemporary society. Each clip was carefully selected and most largely remain unedited. Ultimately, we do not have ownership over our personal data and of the version of yourself that exists on recorded media. In a post-Prism landscape, this clearly underlies Snowden's argument that surveillance and the data extracted from it can be manipulated by almost anyone. Xu Bing's use of CCTV cameras surveying the everyday person, you, reflects how hidden data mining programs and surveillance where the CCTV cameras within internet servers are essentially invisible.
In Under the Shadow of Drone, James Bridle sprays a silhouette of military drones in the streets of Brighton. He visually represents these invisible to the eye aircrafts and highlights surveillance technology and its indirect effects on our lives. Bridle brings these images uncomfortably close to the audience, critiquing networking technologies, which can be seen as morally and politically devaluing life. This work shows us that media artists have become the activists, raising awareness of surveillance in the everyday. Unfortunately, unlike Bridle's ability to outline the shape of surveying drones, we cannot outline the shape of data surveillance.
In our post-Prism landscape, and with current news about companies such as Cambridge Analytica, for example, collecting, using, and selling data from 87 million users on Facebook, it is clear that we have absolutely no control over our personal data that we've uploaded on internet platforms which claim to safekeep it. With shadow profiles, which is data Facebook can deduct on an individual who does not use Facebook, true disappearance from the watching eye is impossible. The panopticon is in constant effect, watching and keeping a record of your interaction with internet networks. We experimented with the download all data feature on Facebook to catch a glimpse of the information Facebook had on us. You can see how Facebook keeps a record of how many times you sign in to all the posts and comments you've ever written, and even advertisements based on what you've liked and have been tagged in. This folder of personal data took 45 minutes to download, showing the massive amount of data collected. This is what Facebook has on me. What do they have on you?
Though media artists have attempted to bring awareness to PRISM, the general public have not changed their use of internet servers. From the 2013 revelation of PRISM by Snowden to the recent Facebook data scandals, this demonstrates our continued lack of interest in better understanding the protection of our private data online. Yet we have seen through the media art examples that surveillance is seen throughout media art and can almost be inescapable. We ourselves are aware of this and have begun to grasp the complexities of data mining. Now that you understand the invisible eyes within media, what can or should you do about it?